Lead, How This Story Ends Is Up to Us. A true story written by Shannon Burkett, directed by Alan Taylor, starring Merritt Wever, Alessandro Nivola, Cynthia Nixon, and me, Cooper Burkett.
Cooper was toddling around when I heard, and I look to see my toddler peeling and eating the sheetrock off the wall.
Are you sure? He actually ate it?
It came out the other side. He had been putting things in his mouth, chewing on things, eating things.
The eating of non-food items. Pica.
The walls that have sheetrock were built in 1981. The paint is lead-free, but our plaster walls, our few plaster walls that house the sleeping monster, the lead deep beneath the surface.
We can test him to make sure.
Yes, but how do I get him to stop?
I don't know.
Our plaster walls are intact, but what if he tries to eat them?
How long has Cooper been doing this?
I don't know. When I told Andy that night about Cooper eating sheetrock off the wall, he said,
"Oh, I noticed a while ago."
"What do you mean you noticed?"
I just noticed. You didn't notice?
No, Andy, that is something you have a conversation about. Hey, hon, I noticed that our toddler is eating the wall.
Hey, hon. Well, did you notice that he has been chewing his crib?
Oh, well, I have astigmatism and our apartment is dark and I don't always see detail. But if I had noticed, I would have said something. I don't know how I didn't know. I noticed he was chewing on things and putting things in his mouth, but I thought it was a sensory integration thing or teething. But when I actually tallied the reality, he ate books, toys, grass, rocks, sand, clothing, blankets, towels. Oh, foam toys. Foam toys were the worst. Chewed the banister in my parents' house. He had worn his 2 front teeth down from the pica.
At least he only chipped his baby teeth.
Dr. Nikki said, looking on the bright side, which is something she did with me often. Like when Cooper ate Cascade, she said,
"Maybe he's self-medicating."
"Why is he doing this? Eating things. I can barely get him to eat food."
Pica causes lead.
Or does lead cause pica? So many questions, decoding the rebus, formulating hypotheses in my mind. The accepted theory is that pica is a cause for lead poisoning. But in Cooper's case, clearly the lead preceded the pica. But why? How can lead cause pica? I was still taking my prereqs for nursing school, so I returned to my textbooks. Was it due to pain? He still had so much stomach pain. Was he eating to relieve the pain? Or was it a compulsion? Behavioral? OCD? PANS pandas occurs when toxins cause an inflammatory response in the brain, resulting in compulsive behavior in children. During his reevaluation, a different social worker came to evaluate and assess to see if Cooper's services could be reduced, eliminated, or increased. Luckily, we had a helpful social worker, not the unhelpful one. As I sat at the kitchen table with the helpful social worker, Cooper waddled in carrying the bath mat.
"How do you feel Cooper's been progressing with the services that are in place now?"
And as if on cue, Cooper just started doing what he normally did. He started eating the bath mat, pulling each string out and swallowing them. She was shocked. I was not.
What is he doing?
That's pica, the eating of non-food items.
He's really eating?
The bath mat. Oh, yeah. And then he pushed the chair up against the door and started unlocking the chain lock, the police lock, the door lock, and opened the door and left. I ran out after him. He escapes.
Tell me what you need for him.
Everything.
I just wish I could do something for you.
As helpful as the helpful social worker was, I was feeling pretty low. No one wants their kid to qualify for services and then need to increase the number and kinds of services. That night, I had a pity party for myself. I poured myself a healthy glass of wine on the rocks. What? I'm from New Jersey.
Babe, what's wrong?
I'm not a good mother.
You are a good mother. What happened?
I can't handle him. He's too much for me. I need help.
What did the social worker say? Are they continuing services?
She's giving him all the services he has now, plus SI and OT. Maybe another mother could do better.
Shannon, you are doing everything you can for him.
I can't even hold the people who hurt him responsible.
You filed the complaint with the Attorney General, right?
I'm so sorry, but the law is very specific on cases of criminal negligence. There are certain criteria that have to be met. Number one, he would have had to have died. Number two, more than one child had to have gotten hurt.
Or
Number
three, he would have had to have been a construction worker working on the site.
You know, of course, you know.
How is it that a construction worker is protected under the law but not a baby?
A construction worker has a strong union.
A union that fought to make sure a contractor had the fear of going to prison if he, she, they knowingly broke a law resulting in an injury of their construction worker. A union knows payoffs are not a deterrent. Jail is. A baby doesn't have a union to fight for him. He only has his mom.
You filed with the district attorney's office as well?
Yes.
Listen, because you filed a complaint, the next time someone files one, we can investigate and open a case.
But construction companies can just change their name, and they are never held responsible.
Most of the time.
And they go on to hurt more children with no recourse.
Mrs. Burkett, civil lawsuits have changed lives for the better, have actually saved lives. I can't officially recommend that you enter into a civil lawsuit, but you should know they can be a deterrent. This sounds callous, but it's the truth. Companies look from a cost analysis standpoint. If it's cheaper to take the risk, they will. If you make it more expensive next time, maybe they will rethink demoing before properly abating for lead.
So according to you, the only way to try and make sure this doesn't happen to another kid is a civil suit.
Correct.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Thanks. I remember seeing those ads on the subways for law firms. You know the ones? $2 million settlement, $7 million in damages. And I would think, wow, they won the lottery. And now I think, that kid must be so messed up, gotten so hurt. We had talked to a couple of lawyers over the years, friends. As the ramifications of the lead became more apparent, we met with our friend's firm, including his boss.
In order for Cooper to have a case, there has to be an injury, and a law had to have been broken. Now, someone can be seriously or even fatally injured, but if no law was broken, it was just an accident.
This was no accident.
They're gonna come after you.
I'm not afraid.
Drugs, therapy, marital problems, anything and everything is on the table. They will dig through your past, both of you. It is their job to make Cooper's deficits your fault.
Eating sheetrock off the wall doesn't run in either of our families.
They're gonna try to deny the dust was their doing.
The construction company paid for the cleaning services.
You have receipts?
Yes, and emails and photos.
And you're only beginning to understand the extent of his injuries.
Cooper was getting services and barely making any progress verbally, so he started to make up his own sign language to try and communicate, which was fabulous, until he started making an obscene gesture with his pointer finger and semi-closed fist.
He can't be doing that.
He's trying to communicate. I called another angel I knew who had taught herself sign language.
We can teach him some basics. Make your hand into a duck. Closed fingers. Hand up to mouth for eat. Good job, Cooper. Now, bring the ducks together for more.
He's doing it.
He's such a fast learner. Faster than me. Open palm. Turn the pages with the other hand. Read book.
He's doing it. Oh, thank you. Cooper started to say the words with the action. Somehow the physical movement unlocked the jail cell in his brain. My classes were my portal inside his body. What is happening with his brain? The Broca part of the brain is in the frontal lobe and controls expressive speech. The frontal lobe controls judgment, logic, reasoning. Is that why he doesn't have safety awareness? The frontal lobe stores memories. When Cooper started speaking, a waterfall of words came out of his mouth. With all of his therapies, he was finally catching up. He loved singing. His grandmother took him to the local production of Annie, and he wore his red Annie shirt every day. I had to wash it almost nightly. And then one day, around the time he turned 4, he came back. Hi.
Hi.
You came back.
Yeah.
Cooper had left, was jailed inside his mind behind bars made of lead. And one day, he just came back. I knew the lead had let him go. Can we test his lead levels?
Everything okay? What's going on? Is he regressing? Has he been exposed?
No.
Do you think his levels are up?
No. Just the opposite. There's something different.
Okay.
And for the first time,
His lead level is below 3. You knew.
I did. I got my son back. But the damage had been done. One summer night when he was around 4 years old, I was lying next to Cooper in the grass, and the damage came to light as bright
as the stars we counted together. What's that?
Which one?
That right there.
That one is the Big Dipper.
Why is it called the Big Dipper?
It looks like a ladle.
What's that?
A big spoon. You see the handle?
Oh. Ooh. What's that?
Those are just bats flying around.
Like Batman?
It's a little smaller. The bats eat the mosquitoes.
Oh. What's that?
What?
That right there.
That's the Big Dipper.
Why is it called the Big Dipper?
We just talked about that. It looks like a ladle. You see the handle?
Shannon, there's nothing wrong with his memory.
He has short-term memory loss.
How do you know?
Because he looks at me like Dory from Nemo. It's the same blank stare. He forgets what I just said to him.
Or he's choosing not to listen.
No, I mean, yes, he doesn't listen to me either. This is different. He doesn't retain what I said to him. He completely forgets. He has short-term memory loss.
Shannon, I know you're going to go to nursing school, but remember, not everyone has a diagnosis. I haven't noticed anything.
Yeah, you noticed him eating sheetrock off the wall.
I did notice.
Yeah, and you just
did.
didn't feel eating sheetrock off the wall was worth mentioning.
I thought you noticed. That is what our families did when we were growing up. You notice and then sweep it under the rug.
Well played, well played.
Shannon, he's talking. Remember when we weren't sure that he would ever be able to do that again? Can we just look on the bright side? The good? For now?
Okay, he's talking about the things he forgets. The first half of the summer was one of the best summers of my life. Cooper's blood work was free of lead for the first time since we started testing him. We were still dealing with the aftermath, the short-term memory loss. The aggression was there, but not homicidal. See? I was looking on the bright side. My brother had given Cooper a foam bowling ball set for his 4th birthday, and he ate it, but
Come on, it was foam.
who wouldn't eat that?
And Shannon and I went away to celebrate our 10th anniversary.
And the weather was warm, and I could feel the sun shining on my face. I had gotten into our local community college's nursing program, which meant I could obtain my degree slowly and affordably and still act and still be around my kids. And then one day in August 2011, I got a call from my doctor.
You have Paget's disease.
I'm sorry?
Look, I'm a dermatologist. I don't normally call my patients to tell them they have breast cancer.
I had what I thought was a nursing sore. My youngest was 2. They were still breastfeeding. I was 2 weeks away from starting the nursing school program. I had my books, my uniform. I even had the ugly nursing shoes that almost no one actually wears, thanks to Crocs. I'll return the books.
No.
And the uniform.
No.
Andy, that is hundreds of dollars worth of stuff.
You listen to me. You are going to keep it all.
Well, they might change the edition of the books.
Fine, return the books, but you are keeping that uniform because you are going to nursing school. You hear me?
Okay. I opted for a double mastectomy with implants, which I've already had to replace. I call these Shannon's Breasts 3.0. The mastectomy was the most physically painful experience I've ever had, and I've given birth to 2 children without an epidural. I know what it's like to be eaten by a lion. In triple negative, the kind of breast cancer I had is particularly ugly and aggressive, and usually recurrence happens within 3 to 5 years. When I tell a physician that I had Paget's and triple negative breast cancer, they look at me like I'm a ghost. Andy.
You can't die.
I'll try not to.
You can't leave me alone with all these kids.
And then you'll be the one who has to deal with the period.
No! There's so many of them. You're not allowed to leave me.
Allowed? I don't think it works that way. While I was dealing with my cancer, Cooper was having a terrible time with his stomach. And we took him to a new gastroenterologist who wanted to make sure he did not have a basor, which are common in goats and occur when undigested non-food items clump together in the stomach, causing vomiting and pain. So he went under for his first endoscopy. Luckily, no basor, just irritation. Cooper entered a general education pre-K class, and I held my breath, not sure if there was enough support for him to remain in gen ed. Cooper continued with services outside of school, and he had this badass pre-K teacher who could handle pretty much any kid ever put on this earth. She was so proud of him at our parent-teacher conference.
He's only eaten one book. A big improvement.
Thank you, yes. Scaling back on my book eating was one of my prouder accomplishments in pre-K.
His aggression was a continual work in progress, as well as his low threshold for frustration. To help him take responsibility for his actions, I had him write apology notes. Cooper will now read some of his finest I'm sorry letters from this time.
Dear Harry, I'm sorry I threw you into the bookcase. Dear Jamie, I'm sorry I punched you.
Coop.
Twice. I'm sorry I punched you twice. And I'm sorry, Miss Finkel, for smashing Piper's face with a pumpkin lid. But why did I have to write one to the teacher as well?
Because the teacher was the one who had to deal with it. And then, in July of 2012, I noticed. I mean, how had I not noticed this? How? Cooper had been... He was eating his bed.
Lead was produced by Shannon Burkett, co-produced by Jenny Maguire, featuring Ebony Booth, Sasha Eden, Kevin Kane, April Mathis, Alicia Reiner, and Mandy Siegfried. Casting by Elaine Aldafer and Lisa Donadio. Music by Peter Sollett. Sound design by Andy Chris. Recording engineer Christopher Chavanis. For corresponding visuals and more information on how to protect children from lead exposure, please go to endleadpoisoning.org.